I'm Taryn, this is Logan, and this is Max. Join us as we live and sail in the Pacific Northwest on our 40-foot steel sailboat. Well, we're on the water again. That's the only thing I can think of that's like the equivalent to saying on the road again, because we're obviously not on a road. But we also never got off the water. We're moving on the water again. So we're leaving Dead Point and we're going to a little beach where you can find cool beach glass apparently. And it's like an old village site. And then we're gonna head, I think, to Caution Cove and go collect some blackberries. Maybe make jam out of them? I don't know. I've never made jam, so we'll see how it goes. They might just end up in the freezer. But anyway, it is absolutely gorgeous out. Fairly calm, there's a little bit of a breeze, but that's it. The water is flat. It's gorgeous. Hi, buddy. What are you doing? Are you sleeping? Looks so sad. So all of those weeds that you see there in the water, that's kelp covering rocks. There's a lot of them around here. It's living up to its name, Beware Passage, because there's so many rocks in this passage, it's crazy. Really got to be on your game and watching out. Luckily Logan is. We made our way to Carlaques Beach to explore its beaches for a few hours before heading around the corner to Caution Cove. So we got here, all ready to go to shore to check out this cool beach, and a grizzly and her cub just walked onto the beach. So, yeah, guess we won't be going to that beach right now. This is the first time we've seen a grizzly this trip. So, I mean, that's good, but yeah, damn. Since we couldn't go to the beach, we decided to jump in the dinghy and check out the grizzlies from the water instead. May actually captured some pretty amazing video and pictures of these guys in an apple tree before we got there, and you can see some of her footage on their YouTube channel, link in the corner above. The cubs seem to be having a great time playing with the ravens and learning how to flip rocks over with Mom. Like, what are they doing? Mom didn't seem to be bothered by us at this point, but the next day we saw her and the cub again in Caution Cove and she was much less thrilled by our presence. Well, that was very exciting. You can still hear the baby making a bunch of sounds. He's watching us, standing up on his hind legs. So we are on the complete opposite end of the beach from the Grizzly Bears. It's a pretty big beach. So we're here, they're there. So fingers crossed that's far enough away, but we will not be going very far from the dinghy. We both got bear spray. Fingers crossed that's enough.
Dog's on a leash.
Yeah, and Max is on a leash.
Yes, I know. It's a pretty tough life for a dog.
Carlaques on Turner Island is an abandoned First Nations village site with significant Kwakwaka'wakw history. So this beach is at an old village site, which is why there's so much stuff on it and why it's all white with shells. So it's a midden, which is essentially like where when the First Nations that lived here used to get rid of their shells after they were done eating, this is where they ended up. So that's why there's like a nice white sandy beach here, because it's actually all shells and glass. So I guess the glass also must have gone in the midden pile, which is what we're finding all over here. So beach glass is like mostly made from natural things anyway, so it's not that bad for the environment, but it's interesting to see how the beach has been changed by human activity in a way that isn't like really that detrimental to the natural environment. There's tons of happy clams here. You can hear them, they're like chattering away. And obviously the grizzlies were very happy to be here and the ravens, so yeah, it's a cool spot. And this beach has apples. just found a ton of black gooseberries. Emptied one of our bags, and now I've got a bag for gooseberries. Very excited. Although I had a hard time finding any information about why this village in particular was abandoned, I did learn while in the area that there was a large history of the Canadian government forcibly relocating villagers from this area. In the 1950s, the government came into villages, forced the people to leave, and then burned the entire village so that they couldn't return to their homes. This happened again and again, and many of the village sites still have not been rebuilt or re-inhabited. This context was not lost on me as we explored the shorelines here. This beach only exists because of human activity, and although these people do not live here anymore, that does not mean that their history is gone, or their stories. I would like to quote a line I found in a Hakai magazine article about a neighboring abandoned village that I thought was appropriate. Soon after it hits me, to the Mamalele Kula, Mamalele Kula is not abandoned, they simply do not live here now. We were guests on a land which held the stories and history of a culture, and it was our duty to respect that with reverence, even if the people were not here to tell us so. After exploring the beach for a bit, we lifted anchor and headed around the corner to Caution Cove to spend a couple of days. Alright, so we made it to the anchorage that we're staying at for the night, and we're gonna go berry picking here too! This time for blackberries. So this is the main reason we came to this anchorage, was specifically to go find some blackberries, so that's what we're gonna do. So what's going on here, Logan?
I don't have a machete, so I had to improvise.
So what'd you do?
I'm caught.
You are caught. Heckin'.
Found some pallets over there, and I threw them in the bushes, and now I'm standing on them.
To get to more berries.
Woo!
Nice.
That's a big blackberry.
That is. We didn't get very many berries on this adventure, but we still had a good time exploring. The day after this beautiful day, it poured rain all day, but the day after that was back to beautiful again.
He's like, he kept me up past my bedtime.
It's true. Well, after all that rain we had yesterday, today is a lot cooler, and it's definitely already starting to feel like fall. It's, I think, August 14th or something, so it's actually still middle of August, but we're quite a bit farther north than we live most of the time, so yeah, the seasons are starting to change earlier for sure. We went back to shore to pick more blackberries, and most of them were molding already, so that's definitely a sure sign that the weather is getting colder. But I found a ton of mint on shore and collected a bunch of that, so that's exciting. There's been more reports as well of grizzlies coming back down to the water and people seeing grizzlies near berries and stuff, which makes sense. If it's getting colder, they're probably starting to ramp up their eating schedule, which is kind of scary for us, but yeah, so I got quite a bit of mint that was growing near where we were picking blackberries the other day, and I collected a bunch of it. I'm gonna dry it and keep it for tea for the winter time, so that's awesome. Definitely was growing a lot better on shore than I got it growing on the boat, so this year I grew mint and lemon balm on the boat, kind of because I thought they were gonna smell good more than I was gonna actually use them, but I'm thinking that next year I'm gonna have to plant something different than lemon balm because I don't really use lemon balm. Mint I use for tea for sure, so it's kind of worth having the mint on board. But yeah, the lemon balm, I'm gonna have to put something else in there. Also, the onions did not do very well with the mint and the lemon balm. Nothing else really wanted to grow with it that I had in there. And I would like to be able to have like a thick amount of stuff in my little planter that I have there. So things I'm gonna have to think about for next year, for next summer when we are back on the boat. So we're just about to haul anchor again. This time we're heading to Potts Lagoon, which you guys have seen already, but it's a lot cooler this time. So we'll see how different it is. And when we get there, we're gonna can some crab with Marty and May. So I'll show you guys that too when we get there. The wind's supposed to pick up a bit, and the anchorage that we're in right now is not at all protected in northwest winds. So that's the main reason that we're moving this morning. And Potts should be a lot more protected, so yeah. We're also hoping that the salmon come in while we're there and we can go fishing and get some salmon. And can some of that too, so let's get going.
We're going through some shallow water.
A little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, especially the wind has really picked up, so it's hard to see any of the kelp and rocks and stuff.
Join us next week as we start our journey back south through Johnstone Strait. And thanks so much for being here with us. We really appreciate you. If you would like to keep up with us in real time, you can do so by joining our Patreon for as little as $1 a month.